I mean, this look is cute. I'm into it. I think I just decided if I'm gonna have basic palettes, I'm not gonna have all the basic palettes by Pat McGrath. But if it's a mothership, I'm going because we love a good mothership. So if I want to have basic palettes in my collection, or all pink, or just one vibe, I guess it'll just be Pat McGrath. We shall see. Let's jump into the video. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So if you are new here, welcome. If you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy and I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup, but please just call me Ash or Ashley, and eyeshadow is my jam. Yes, we love eyeshadow, okay? So currently, I'm kind of working my way back into the YouTubing, filming and editing and posting and all of that stuff. And I have picked up a few makeup things, and today we are talking about Mothership 11, okay? Sunlit Seduction. Now, if I must add, this package, this artwork is gorgeous. She's like a mixture between like a divine rose and a utopian dream woman. I would love to have a shirt like this, Pat. I mean, come on. Get with the Nelia. I don't know what's happening. The last t-shirt I have was Mothership 5, okay? So, for me, I don't know. Like, I saw the launch, but I've been going through a lot, as I talked about in my last video. I saw the launch, and this was like the first Pat McGrath palette where I was just like, what's happening? I'm not quite sure. Okay, it's pink. What else did we expect? I mean, we could have had a little bit more purple, but it is what it is. And then I was like, oh, I'll get it, but probably not on launch day, which is so rare for me because that has never been me when it comes to a Pat McGrath palette, or at least for the most part. Okay, but I actually got this as a birthday present from my good friends Yachty Beauty and Beauty and Frizz, and I was like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to want the palette. So he get it for me for my birthday. So it was a later birthday present because what I thought what I wanted, I did not want anymore, and I was like, don't give me that, okay? But I ended up getting the palette, and I got the eye primer. So this is what the palette looks like. And, she's pink. But I did have some surprises when I put this on, and I'll show you the looks that I have. I have 3 looks for you per usual with this palette. Now, the palette does retail for $125. It's her standard Mothership pricing. The palette is available at Sephora. I bought the palette from her website directly. Now, the palette did have like some glitches. This palette came out, I want to say, like the very first weekend in August, if not at the very end of July. I don't actually have the exact date. I tried to go back on her Instagram and look, but I think she's edited everything to just say available now. So when people look, they know that the palette is available. And it also came with an eyeshadow primer. And I was like, girl, it's about time that you gave us an eyeshadow primer for, like all of these eyeshadow palettes. It would just seem like necessary that you have an eyeshadow primer in your repertoire. Okay, so actually, let's see. Do we have the box? The primer retail for $32. And when I say quality, do you hear that? She's happy. Okay, let me not bruise my hand. So this is the packaging right here. This is the IntensifEYES Longwear primer, okay? So you have 5 milliliters of primer. You have a doe foot applicator, which is pretty usual for any type of primer, which is actually what I really prefer. And at first I was like, I don't know about the color, but pleasant surprise, okay? So I will do that later. Your primer is good once you open it for 12 months. Let's see, and it looks like it is made in the USA of US and imported ingredients. So that's nice to know. And the packaging, like I just mentioned, is very much quality. It is very reminiscent of the concealers in form of how the packaging is. Because, the packaging can be great or it can be trash. Exhibit A. Exhibit B. When she gets her packaging right, it's right. And when it's wrong, it's wrong, okay? So, I'm going to move on. Of course, we have 3 looks. And as I was mentioning before, the palette did, mysteriously go on sale. and it was 30% off. And so people who weren't going to purchase it was like, well, heck, if it's 30% and I can get it right now, I'm going to go for it. Now, she is running a sale on her site. I'm not sure if that goes for the palette. I don't need anything from her except for a green blue palette. Get with it. I need to see some color. I need to see a transition. I need to see some water themes in these next couple of years, okay? Or at least an astro, a gastro. Give me the aurora lights or something, okay? So, but I have 3 looks, and I'm going to drop in some swatches, and of course I'm going to talk about the looks in between, and we'll wrap up with some final thoughts at the end. Let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I got my eyebrows filled in per usual. Some things never change. And this is the Goof Proof Pencil in shade 3.75 by Benefit Cosmetics. Now, I did pick up the eyeshadow primer, and I've used it once. This is the IntensifEYES Longwear Primer. And it just had one color, and usually I am not a fan of eyeshadow primers that are beige on my skin complexion because, you know, I just feel like if the shadows are a little thin, you can see it. I prefer things that match my color, you know, all the way. And like, I really used to be a fan of the Urban Decay Caffeine Primer. I'm still a fan, but I don't think they make it anymore. I'm going to check back on the website though. But I've been using MAC Contemplative State. I've used this primer one time and she was okay. Actually, I went to Dinner in the Blanc when I used it. I used the Hershey Kisses, the Hershey's Cookies and Cream palette. And everything blended really nicely. I'm just taking a Real Techniques brush and blending it out. So it really is kind of like my shade complexion. So you can't be mad at that. So I do think that that is genius. So it's kind of transparent. So I do like that. And my shadow lasted all night because we went to Dinner in a Blanc, and it's a lot of logistics. If you've ever been, you know, you got to meet up in a location. And then you got to walk or arrive somehow at your secret location on top of meeting up with the girls first. And then you also, you know, you get there, you got to put all your stuff together so you can have your fancy smancy picnic. And then there was dining. Of course, there was dancing and there was shenanigans, fun shenanigans. And we went out afterwards. So we went to a bar. So my makeup held up well. That's all I'm trying to say. So it's like a thin little layer. It's on there. The packaging, when I first pulled it out, I was like, oh, this feels substantial because, you know, Pat McGrath. It's like either she gets it right with the packaging or it's just really bad with the packaging. And this gave me vibes of the concealer in terms of the weight. She's heavy. I would not want to drop this on my toe. So I'm going to shut up and we're going to see how this takes us. I mean, she's a neutral queen. She's very much giving, I don't know. We're going to figure something out. right, guys, I am back. Here are the first two looks. So I'm not gonna lie, I am feeling them. I think they're very pretty. And I think the colors actually appeared to be a lot darker than I actually expected. Now, I would say that this special shade, and I used it with the IntensifEYES one. That's me trying to drag out this card. This is the PAT McGRATH IntensifEYES Artistry wand. This actually came out with Utopian Dream, so it's kind of like a extra sticky base to make some of those shades pop. I think that this is pretty. However, it's not as sparkly as I feel like it should be, especially for a PAT McGRATH special shade. You know, that's this shade right here, this purpley shade, and that is Astral Amethyst Allure. So I think it is pretty, but it is kind of giving me, you know, run-of-the-mill shimmer per se. It is what it is, but it is kind of giving run-of-the-mill shimmer. I went ahead and used this gold. Yeah, did I in the inner corner, and I like how that one looks a little bit better, and that is Astral Gilded Aura. So I'm actually kind of glad that this particular gold has something a little bit more to give than her standard golds. But let me tell you, when you saw me in the beginning, this primer, oh my gosh, like I did not expect, what is that, Sienna Mystique? Because it's not that dark. It's a deeper matte than this particular shade, but even this showed up. This primer, top tier, as they say, 10, 10, 10s across the board, because it dried down and it just became translucent as far as the primer is clear, and the shades just popped. When I started putting on and my brush was clean, I didn't have any excess product or any, you know, shadows that were lingering from another use, and I just can't believe how vibrant this actually showed up. And in mixing with this, which is Extreme Vermilion Dusk, we've had vermilion. I think that was in Mothership XI, but it was like more red. This blend right here is, I was like, and I do really like how this shimmer looks. This is a very nice coppery shimmer. And I paired it actually with just, you know, the standard Skin Show shade. So we have Skin Tints Radiance in this particular palette. So I do really like how this eye looks. I like how this eye looks also, but like I said, I just feel like these, it could be a little something more. This little quad, I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. Mine is this really bright pink. It's kind of reminding me of Risque Rose quad. I'll pull it out later. But as far as my face, I went in, of course, with my PAT McGRATH foundation in medium deep 22. I went ahead and took my concealer. Do you believe I've had these concealers since the concealers came out? Don't judge me. Whatever. Y'all got makeup that you've had forever too, okay? This is in the shade M20. You know, she's finally going now because I only use like dabs of concealer, so I don't run through them too quickly. And I went ahead and set that with just a tiny bit of my under eye powder in the shade Yellow. And I went ahead and took the Burnished Honey bronzer for my cheeks and my forehead perimeter. So we have Burnished Honey. And I went in with my fave, Night Bloom. I love me some Night Bloom. It is just so pretty for the cheeks. And then for the highlights, I took the shade, now I have to kind of be careful with this. This is Venus Nectar, because I can't stand her up. Like I dropped it and the whole powder part just shifted right on out, and I was able to just scoot it right back on in. So yeah. And then for the lips, no lip liner, went in with these Divinyl. This is in the shade Bella Amore. I wish you would come out with some more shades of this, because I really do appreciate these. So really happy with the looks. I think they're really pretty. Really impressed with this eyeshadow primer. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to jump in with look 3. I definitely want to play with this Blitz Crimson Ecstasy, because you know, definitely want to play with these two shades. And yeah, but I'm actually really surprised about this and this. These mattes. I mean, the mattes are matty, but it might be also the primer. The primer is giving smooth. I'm here for it. All right, so I'll be right back. back. Here is the third and final look, and it's really beautiful, but I did cheat a little bit. I cheated a little bit, and I just had to find out. And, you know, I think it came out really beautiful, and you have to get the most of your makeup. So I'm sorry. Like, you know, I never dip into other palettes when I'm doing my 3 looks 1 palette, but I just had to. So I dipped into Celestial Nirvana. And the mattes in here are to die for. I just need more mattes and colorful mattes in my life from Pat McGrath. So I decided to jump in with this deep purple right here, which is called Violet Vixen, and mix it in with, let's see, that shade that I put in my transition before, which is the Sienna Mystique. So I think the two of them blended very well together. I also kind of wanted to see how her other shadows performed with the eye primer. This is the Sienna Mystique shade, and just went ahead and jumped in with the Extreme Vermilion Dusk on the outside. Now, I would say that in my experience, I would say I only use this shade just a tiny bit, which is the Astro Gilded Aura, but definitely the Blitz Crimson Ecstasy and the Astral Pink Fetish. They are definitely like a more creamier, stickier formulation versus the other shades that are usually astral shades. And you know, Pat McGrath has actually a lot of different type of special shades. We have blitz shades, we have astral shades, we have some baked gelée shades. So, and then lately we've had like the multi-chrome shade. So I think it just kind of depends on the formula. This is obviously a newer formula. It's sticky. I do definitely prefer how this particular performs over this one. This one definitely seemed a little bit drier. It wasn't very opulent on the eye, where this is actually has a lot more shine. I'm curious to see how it will work with an actual traditional glitter glue versus her IntensifEYES. I think I threw that back in the drawer already. But these two shades, they did perform nice. They were very creamy, and I feel like they look a lot more opulent on the eyes than this particular shade. And I would actually like to give this shade some gold, because this is a type of gold that I can actually get behind versus like those stark golds, and it has like a little bit of dimension to it and kind of like a little flip. And the same with this one. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to pull out the quad. Okay, I got the quad. I forgot it was right back here. So this is one from Holiday, I want to say Holiday 2019. And this is the Blitz Astro Quad Ritualistic Rose. I think I called it Venus and Flora or something. Actually, Venus and Flora, that's the one I hate. That's the one I used as a face palette prior to us getting, you know, blushes from Pat McGrath. Let's see. So, yeah. Very similar, huh? Between the 4 shades. So definitely reminiscent of the shade I was just talking about. Maybe not the bronze, not so much as gold, but this one right here. And this quad kind of came out all before that whole Divine Rose, you know, frenzy. So that was the first type of rose quad we have. So let me see if I can attempt to hold both of them. Because child, you know, my hands. We have witnessed me almost dropping some motherships. So, yeah, you can see they're very similar. So, if we were to take, let's see, I don't think did I ever have the correct card for this one? Or was it my other one? Yes, it is. Okay. So, we have Astro Rose Orchid, and it's definitely a drier formula. Very sheer traditional astral shade formula versus the Astral Pink Fetish. So definitely the Astral Pink Fetish, and this is from the Sunlit Seduction, is definitely deeper than this one from the Risque Rose. But I feel like they do kind of give somewhat similar vibes. You're definitely going to have more pigment with the one from today. So you definitely can kind of lay it down by itself. But I find with the astral shades, you can lay those down by itself. I would just definitely use a glitter glue so they're not everywhere. You know what I mean? And then I guess the closest dupe in here would be the Rose Quartz 005, which is more purpley lavender color. Definitely, this is a little bit more dry, a little bit baked, more a little gelée formula. Verse is, let's see what we got. We got Astro Amethyst Allure, which is right here. So, I mean, once again, you kind of know like she has duped herself. But, okay, so this is the one from the quad. This is the one from the palette. So, very much same vibes for sure. I think in this particular case, I prefer the one from Risque Rose better. It looks more shiny, looks more opulent than the one in the palette. However, the palette, it's not bad. Honestly, I do like it. I mean, I think I've just decided if I'm going to have basic palettes, it's going to be from Pat McGrath or Natasha Denona. But I feel like, what is it? The I Need a New palette is a little bit too basic for me. But this is my basic that I can go with. I feel like my look is very pretty. Yes, I did kind of like go ahead and cheat on it because I added in that purple, but I would do that sometimes in real life, and you just make the most of what you have in your makeup to make your looks the way you want it to look. Do I feel like this palette is an absolutely must have? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm actually really totally tired of the pinks. By the time I put this palette up with my other motherships, like the last 5 motherships minus Mothership 10, but just the artwork is all like fading together, except for Mothership 10 has more gold and we know it's more cool tone. I did actually really enjoy that palette, and I ranked it pretty high in my last Pat McGrath ranking, but I wanted to have the palette, and then just asking for it as a birthday present made it nice. Now, I do feel like the mattes are really nice. I feel like they actually showed up a lot better than I actually anticipated. And I don't know if it has something to do with her new primer, because that primer, it just kind of allows the shadows to shine. Now, I told you that typically I use a primer that is my skin complexion. I can show you what I've been using lately, which is this MAC Paint Pot in Contemplative State. It is basically my skin color, as you can see. So I feel like this is great, but honestly, you know, it's going to eat up some of the color. So because it's putting on here versus I had this primer that is pretty much translucent right here, and the colors just really shine through. The blendability was so easy. You kind of just have to let it dry down. I definitely have to test some more to see how much, you know, I'm gonna like it, what's the longevity, but so far so good. You know, I'm very much a stickler when it comes to priming my eyes. Like, my primer got to be right, okay? So I do not play because I do not like my eyeshadows creasing. Plus, usually when I'm putting on eyeshadow, whether I go to work, I have a very full day, or if it's activities, going out, I have a very full day. Time, I'm moving around, I'm sweating. I'm not usually just sitting here like, I'm cute. You know what I mean? So my eyeshadow, I feel like I've always been putting it to the test. Overall, I did not play with every single shade. Let's see. I did not play with this one. I think this one might be nice for just like an everyday. You could definitely do like everyday, but it's a lot smokier than I actually anticipated it to be. I think with this, it brings a little something more special. This look to me does read Pat McGrath. The look prior, like with this particular shade, it wasn't giving as much. Now, I would definitely pair this shade probably with the purples that are here in Celestial Nirvana to see, like, you know, what type of looks I can get and achieve. But overall, I am happy with the palette. I don't feel like it's necessarily like, oh my God, yes, you need it. But I am happy with it. I'm happy with the performance. I think the quality is great. I do think it's missing just a little bit of that it factor, but what's made up for me, it would be the matte performance and the regular standard, like foiled regular shimmers. And then the top, I think I would say I would go with this one and this one. And this little crimson, Blitz Crimson Ecstasy is good too. It's not red. It's definitely pink. So I'm not sure why she's calling it crimson. But, you know, Pat, you know, I just hope that we can kind of break out of the pinks. I've been saying this. I just hope we can really just break out of the pinks. And I don't know, like, I know a lot of people, well, I would think that the shimmers were actually not as great in here as the mattes. And I know this was like deeply discounted. Somebody just told me they found this at Marshall's for like $35, which is a steal. So, but overall, I'm happy with all of my looks here. Tell me what look is your favorite. I'm very happy with the primer. Primer win. 10 out of 10. Yes. So let me know down below what was your favorite look. I would say this is definitely my favorite look. I know I cheated. And then it would be my first look where I just had like kind of the regular shimmer satin shimmer on. I thought that was really beautiful. And yeah, so leave me a comment down below. Did you pick up this palette? What did you decide to do? Give this video a big old thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video, which will be soon. And subscribe to my channel because, you know, I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with all of that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the Chat Dance. Chat Dance. Hey, 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 Chat Dance. Chat Dance. Hey, 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 Chat Dance. Chat Dance. All right, y'all. Bye.